Greetings, everybody. From time to time, I look around me and I try to analyze and evaluate the situations or circumstances in life to make sense of it for myself. My opinion on certain topics, or every topic for that matter, is not one that I expect everyone to agree with. These are just my thoughts. These are the way I have evaluated and analyzed and examined the things around me and try to make meaning of them. So I'm not saying they're written in science. I'm not saying that my thoughts are final. These are my thoughts. And some of them are subject to changing depending on what the evidence is. Whatever the empirical evidence is, I can change my thoughts on this. But today, I am examining Africa and the African people, and I'm trying to understand why people from Africa or from the Caribbean or from the United States, why they're the same people, but they behave differently. I think the black people in Jamaica came from a particular place in Africa. They demonstrate a certain kind of attitude or behavior that is very similar to some of the Haitian people's behavior. So I'm thinking in the slave trade, individuals from certain parts were taken to Jamaica and to Haiti. And I think the Americans were brought from a different place in Africa because they're a different breed of black people. The black men in the United States are much different from a lot of black men from other places. Now, there's a certain place in the United States, a certain school in a certain neighborhood where a young girl went to school and she brought her cell phone. And in the process of going through her day, it turned out really, really bad for her. And the men in the United States have seen what they have done to this little girl. Individuals in the United States turn to social media as usual to report on this situation. And it makes me think to myself, wow, if that happened in Jamaica, social media would hear about it after a certain behavior. Black men in America are so weak. It is so pathetic. It's so sad. The black men there who have money are a joke. If you look at these men who are wealthy, they are good for a nice laugh. They take their money and they allow individuals around them to mock them. Recently, Fairweather bought a new luxury item, a vehicle worth $3.5 million. And I'm just imagining in my mind, can you imagine him walking into that car dealership and when the salesman sold him that car for 3.5 million, they would have had a good laugh from the idiot. No car is worth $3.5 million, none. But black people will buy it for that because they're stupid. They're useless. The black men, for the most part in America, are embarrassing to black women. Oh, I digressed. So the girl went to school, went to her class, and somewhere in between the tossing and the cell phone, there are some things missing. But what I do know is that a girl was thrown out of her chair and grabbed by the arm and leg and tossed across the room because she didn't give her cell phone to her teacher. She didn't give the cell phone to the administrator, and she didn't give the cell phone to a police officer. Now, my thing is, if my child had a cell phone at home and I demanded that cell phone and she didn't give it to me, which is what parents are going through nowadays. You can't talk to your kids because they teach them that they don't have to listen to you. That if you yell at your children or if you try to discipline them in any way, you're abusing them. But it's not an abusive situation when a big police officer takes a girl out of her chair, tosses out a girl out of her chair, and tosses her across the room like a rag doll. Now, I'm not blaming the administrator. I'm not blaming the teacher. I'm not blaming, sorry, the police officer. I'm looking at the teacher. Who was this teacher? I see a black man in a white shirt. He could be the administrator. I'm not sure. But my thing is, it's so embarrassing for that school because on one hand, the teacher who is supposed to have command of his or her classroom had no control over a student who was sitting on her hand. I saw no demonstration of violence. I heard no verbal abuse or no disrespect coming in terms of verbally from the student. So a male, I don't know if it's a male teacher, but a male person in a white shirt who is part of the school was not able to speak to that student and to get that student to do what he or she wanted. What a disgrace. So the problem is not with the student, the problem is with the school and the weak staff that they have there. Because I think if I was in a situation like this, and I have been in situations like this before, I have not just taught the little babies in kindergarten. I have had guys who are in gun courts and I had them eating out of my hands. Why? Because there's one thing that you need. If you want to be able to reach your students, there's a lot of things you have to do. But one of the things that you have to do is show respect. And I am sure if that teacher showed that student any respect, that situation wouldn't have spiraled. So the child did not interrupt the school's day. The child did not interrupt the class. It was the teacher and the administrator and the police that interrupted that class environment. And then a student saw what was happening and she thought something was wrong with a young girl being tossed around like that. And she got up and spoke out in defense of her classmate. And what happened? She was arrested too. It is the most amazing thing that I've ever seen. The classroom had all these students who seemed like they were predominantly black students. And they sat, some turned away their faces, some tried to hide their own business. And it is such a disturbing thing to see because these kids were probably terrified for their own well-being. I don't think that black kids could see another black person treated that way and act in such a cold and removed way, except the fact that they were concerned about their own well-being. They didn't want to say anything. They kept quiet. I listened to the sheriff who was giving some feedback on the case. And when someone in the audience asked him, you know, how do you feel about what you saw? He said he is sick to the stomach. Did you hear that, black people, black men in America? The man said, "Oh, no, sick in stomach." Do you get that? He said he was sick to his stomach. Now, I am sure he's not sick to the stomach because of what happened to the girl. He's sick to the stomach that this girl had the audacity to say no to these authoritative force. He's sick to the stomach that this careless police officer allowed himself to be caught doing this. Because when you listen to him speak, he has three tongues. One tongue that kind of give you the impression that he is sorry about what happened or he is ashamed of what he's seen in front of him. But when you listen to him carefully, he is the guy who is going to release this man from all kind of charges that could potentially come up. Mr. Obama, please hurry up and get out of the White House. Since you became president, black people in America condition have worsened. And as for that man, Ben Carson, for heaven's sake, can you please go do some surgery and let white people run out of beating and killing and abuse that white people have, black people have endured since there's a black president in the White House. Go in peace, President Obama. and Benz, now whatever your name is, go back to doing your surgery. Black people continue to sit back and watch black women treated like dirt, and you don't do anything about it. What a disgrace. I don't respect American black men. Any man that can stand by and see a man treat a female that way and life goes on as usual is weak, is pathetic, and deserve nothing but the beating that you're getting. I don't feel sorry for black American men. I feel sorry for the women. And I am saying that if that little girl was in Jamaica and somebody looking like him went into that classroom and took that girl and did that, I would have been fire. Jamaica would be under fire. How long shall you bask under the glory of your brutality, USA? How long before you turn that venom onto your own cells? Do you think your enemy is the outsider? Your enemy is yourself. Your enemy. I need a break. I need a break. I need to listen to Peter Tosh for a minute. Now, in the past, when individuals used to come out and talk about how the police was brutalizing them, nobody believed it. There was nothing to show. And then Rodney King was the first person situation that was highlighted on camera. He's dead now. But that time, people got a chance to see. Ever since that time, individuals have reconvened and decided that since we are living in an age of technology where people can capture you and put you on video, let's just take those videos and let's just tear them to shreds. Let's just put those videos and put a new spin on them. So what is the point? Black people, why are you wasting time taking videos of individuals being abused? It doesn't make any sense. Your situation won't change. If when you didn't have the camera, you were being abused. And now that you have it, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day until you have learned how to really find ways how to address the situation that you find yourself in. Then you're going to continue to get some cuff and cuff and slaps and backs down and kick down. And individuals will tell you how it sick their stomach to see that you're so worthless. I don't care. It's time for black people to stop being so proper and so nice. If that was my daughter, doping no ufi frighten. If that was my daughter, if that was my daughter, I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it right this so.
Times I sit and look around and listen to the daily sound. But when I check, there's so much lies, and that's the reason why the children cry. Oh, butterfly, oh, rascal, oh, butterfly, oh, rascal.
They don't push me, man. They push me. They push me now to see my little sister get treated that way. My little sister went to school and decided that she wanted to be defiant and not give up her phone. There are so many ways to handle that situation. That teacher could have told that student to leave, which I don't quite get because I don't understand why any teacher chases any child out of classroom. Your job is to try to keep them in there. A great teacher knows how to control any situation. The best teachers in the world know how to deal with the most aggressive students, and they ain't running them out nowhere. When they're done, they transform those kids, have those kids eating in the palm of their hands. If you have to put your student out of class, you're a loser, and you have to call administration to help you deal with a child, you're a loser. You don't belong in the classroom. You should be working with some wild boars in some wild parts of Africa. And when we talk about Africa, I'm talking, call Africa because Africa has every animal, beautiful and wild and tame alike. You're a loser teacher if you can't control your own classroom. And a girl sitting on her hand poses no threat to anybody. And there's no justification for treating anybody like that. Black, white, Indian, chief, girl, guy. No reason unless that person has a gun pointed to your head and it's a matter of life and death. No student, no kid should be treated that way, let alone a female. So what is the message you send out there to your hypocrites? Hypocrites. Because if that girl's mom had slapped her, she would have been in jail. And some big stinking man put his hand on a female and toss her around. And now you people have the nerve to be trying to come and show camera from a different leg. I'm sorry she didn't punch his face out. What you're talking about, she hit him. Right now, he should be blind. He should be blind. He should be blind for what he did to that girl. But karma will have its day. Karma. Nobody must do anything to this gentleman. Let him go. Let him walk free. Let him join all those who have murdered the black people. Let them go walk free so that their karma can have its day. Decent, good, clean citizens. Black people is not your enemy. I am saying the black people in the United States is not the enemy of these individuals who choose to see them as enemies. Because if they were, you couldn't do that to them. But your enemies are right beside you and around you. Your enemies are the ones you're providing with arms. Your enemies are the ones who you are there loving and supporting every day. And one day black people will stand in a corner and watch you kill each other. That young girl will suffer psychological, emotional distress because of what happened to her. I leave you with the words of Peter Tosh. Be blessed, everybody. Think on these things.
It's been so long, we need a change. So the ships that we got to be arranged. And if there is obstacles in the road, we got to throw them overboard.
I need
Oh, bum, ba, blah.
I need one of those right now.